How the hell do I hold this?
Hey everyone, this is Disc Junkie, and today I'm back to do another video of my Texas Chainsaw Massacre collection. Can't remember exactly when I did the previous video, but in any case I figured that, I've picked up enough of new stuff for the TCM collection since last time, so I thought we would just run through them and see what I got. Now, let me just go ahead and do this, and you can sort of see the collection, the way it looks when it's displayed. And I know you've seen this before, but I've done some updates, so I basically have, as you can see, if I let me just step back and do like an overview, so you can see the whole thing. So yeah, all of these shelves in the middle, just like the 1, 2, 3, those 3 shelves, that's all Texas Chainsaw from top to bottom. And I thought we'd just go in and check the top row here. So, I mean, I'm guessing this is, not saying this is all new stuff, I just wanted to show you sort of like what the new setup looks like. And here's one thing that I did. I bought this vintage VCR, it's really early VCR and just really sort of aesthetic looking. And I was sort of trying to figure out a good place where to put this in my collection. It doesn't really relate to Texas Chainsaw at all. I just bought it because I thought it was so appealing and as a retro piece of technology that looked so interesting. And then when I was trying to, just looking around thinking like maybe I can use this as a bit of a sort of memento to a Texas Chainsaw or to sort of the video violence sort of 80s, pre-cert act and like that whole, making it sort of like a retro type shrine almost. I just thought I'd try that. And then when I was trying that, I suddenly picked up this release, which is a Swedish release called Studio S and the Video Violence, which is a collection of films that were banned in the 80s, including Texas Chainsaw, because people were very concerned about violence on film. There was this, just Google it. But in any case, then I just looked at the cover and I realized something that I never spotted before. And that is that this very type of machine, the VCR that I bought at random, is actually featured on the cover, which I thought is just such strange coincidence. And I was so surprised that I'd never spotted this before. It's remarkable. So I just decided to make that sort of a part of it, creating a bit of a display to sort of commemorate the 80s and Texas Chainsaw and everything that happened in Sweden about the film getting banned. And that's what I wanted to go for there. And then here's the rest of the top shelf, as you can see. And then over here I started putting up some other stuff, like the Texas Chainsaw remake and stuff, but I'm not gonna get into that. So anyway, I think I'm just gonna sit down for this one. That's gonna get really tedious, so just keep reaching down. Like you know from previous videos, I tried to sort of sort things based on countries or subcategories. Like I got some Texas Chainsaw Massacre porn, a small stack there, and then I got some documentaries up there, more documentaries down here, some bootlegs, mixed countries, UK, America, Canada, Germany, etc., etc. So I'm not going to go through too much of detail in the sections themselves because this has been so discussed already. But let's see what we got that's new, and I think we will start over here. This first one, something I've been looking to find for a while, and it is a bootleg. It comes in this VHS clamshell, a very sort of homemade type case, but this is actually not a VHS, even though it comes in a VHS case. It is actually a puzzle, a 300-piece puzzle from a company called Gods and Monsters, or Gods and Monsters Records. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up just briefly to show you that, yeah, it is in fact a puzzle. I thought that was a really fun idea, so I've been really trying to find that. Then we got a new DVD, which is also a bootleg actually. This is a Russian bootleg, and it is not just the first movie, it is in fact the complete fan edit box set, which is basically a DVD box set which is supposed to feature, as you can tell from the back here, alternate cuts of all movies which I haven't actually watched it, but I imagine that for the first film it's probably not true. I don't know exactly what they did, if they added in like, you know, deleted footage that doesn't have audio or stuff, because as you know, if you're like a Texas Chainsaw aficionado like myself, there really isn't like a director's cut version of the first film. I mean, a lot of the earlier releases, if you go back to like the 80s, there were like VHS releases and stuff that were obviously cut because of censorship laws. But looking at like modern day releases today, like anything released after, I don't know, 2005, somewhere around there, is basically completely uncut for the most part, unless it's, I mean, if you're talking DVDs or whatever, there really shouldn't be anything more that they can add, because there's really no other material that has been made official. I mean, if anything has been made official, it's usually like deleted scenes or stuff that have really poor audio quality or stuff. So I don't know if that's what they put in there to make it like an extended cut, but well, in any case, I haven't watched it, but I imagine it's not really too special in terms of the cut, so to speak. Next up, we got some new VCDs from Thailand. Here is one which has a kind of an interesting cover. This clearly has the cover from the remake version, but it is in fact the original. You can tell that the actor names on there are actually the actors from the original film, and this is a really crappy release. And even looking at the back cover, you can tell that it's still hard to figure out which movie this is. But yeah, if you actually watch the disc, it is actually the old one. And like you can see, this cardboard's like cut on the back, but it's quite an uncommon release, and quite a weird case. You can see it's just like an empty, really cheap looking plastic case, and then there's like a cardboard slip covers. But looking at, here's another one. You can notice I have two of these now. I think I had one before, and this is another VCD from Thailand, just the same. The other one is from Thailand as well. But now I got two of these, and the reason why is because even though these have basically exactly the same cover art, I realized that they actually have different discs, and it's a 2-disc. Both releases are 2-disc editions. You can basically flip this up, and you have a second disc in the back there. I realized that they had different disc art, which I thought was kind of strange. So that's why I decided to pick up a second version, even though I actually had it. Let's see, where do we go from here? It's not too much new stuff, but I do have a tape down here, which I got. This is a Danish release called Massacre. I can't do a Danish accent. Massacre! Something like that. That's sort of what it's called in Denmark. Nothing too special about this. It's just a retail VHS clamshell. Then, if we move up a bit, I have a stack of new stuff. Let's see, can I remove this without everything falling over? I don't know if I can. Yeah, I couldn't. So, new stuff here. First up is a book. This is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Companion. It's not a particularly new book, it's been around for a while. I found this on the Swedish equivalent of eBay. It's a site called Tradera, basically has online auctions like eBay does. And some guy in Sweden was actually selling this, and it's actually signed. And as luck would have it, it's actually signed, personalized, to a guy who has the exact same name as me. Even this is the right spelling. And I mean, if it was like a really personalized version with like a very specific special notation on it, you know, something really personal, I probably wouldn't have been interested. But as you can tell, this one says, basically just says "You're next." And I know for a fact that this is like his sort of like first go-to signature. Like if the person who gets something signed doesn't really want anything specifically personalized, Gunnar always used to sign this with "You're next." I think this is really common. I know I have another item which is signed in exactly the same way, completely unrelated, so I imagine that was sort of like one of those phrases which he tended to pull out when someone didn't ask for anything special. So I thought it was really cool, and this is also a book which I purchased after Gunnar Hansen passed away, and I figured that, you know, well, never going to be able to meet the guy now, sadly, and so this was one of the few instances where I figured, well, now I can actually get a book that's actually signed, personalized to me, even though it's not to me, but with my name on it. So yeah, kind of weird. I've never really done that before. I never bought a signed, personalized version which was signed with my name, but not for me. So it's kind of cheap, and I didn't have this book, so I figured it was a nice pickup. Then here is a new DVD, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Family Portrait Revisited. Another variation of the cover. It's the same cover image, but basically the font for Revisited, it's slightly different from the ones that I've had before. And this is, I can't remember if this is American or Canadian, I always confuse the two. Then we got a German VHS bootleg, and this is a bootleg which I've been dying to find for so long. It's from a company called CCM Productions, or a fake company. I mean, as you can tell, this is extremely bootlegish. Like, I don't know, this cover might not actually be the original bootleg, it might actually be copied because it looks so terrible. And then when I get it home and I open it up, I realize that the tape in it isn't actually the right tape. Now, Massacre 13 is actually the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it is from another bootleg release. It's not from this bootleg release. So somehow somebody swapped bootleg tapes. It's really annoying. But I don't have the Massacre 13, or well, it's not Massacre 13, it's Massacre 73. Sorry, I misread that. But I don't have Massacre 73 either, so I am looking to find that, and then I figured, well, now I have a spare tape in case for some reason I find it without a tape. Next up is another Blu-ray from Denmark, as you can clearly see, except it's not from Denmark. Fucking, I always confuse the two. Motor Sag Massacre, and that is the Norwegian version. Whereas, so this one that I had pulled out before, this is also from Norway. The Danish version is similar title, but it's Motor Savs Massacre. So I always confuse the two. I can never remember which is which when I try to read them on screen, so sorry about that. 40th anniversary release, sort of similar style artwork as other ones from the same time. And then finally another DVD, which is also from Norway. An older collector's edition from Norway, released by a company called SME. Guess that's all I have to say about that one. I need to sort these once I'm done. Then if we move up here... Oh yeah, I got in the same package deal as I bought the book that was signed. I also bought this little deck of cards, also personalized. So this came from the same seller, or the same collector, so to speak, so I was happy to grab that at the same time. And then moving down, we got my Spanish, some Australian stuff. And here I got two new tapes. The first one is a Spanish tape, and this is actually one which I already own. So you might be wondering, so why did I actually buy this? Well, I didn't, to be honest. Here is the same one, the one that I got already. It's actually quite a collectible tape. The thing is that when I bought this, I wasn't buying this. I bought a completely different tape, or I ordered a completely different tape from this motherfucking idiot seller, whom I'm not gonna name by name, because I'm guessing that will get me in trouble. But I've bought some stuff from him before, and he just has the worst English. I bought 3 tapes. I bought the puzzle from him, and I wanted to get 2 other tapes, so I bought 3 things. And he sent me this package, and the package just had the puzzle in it. And I'm like, okay, what's going on there? So I messaged him and saying, like, you know, you sent me only 1 out of 3 items. What's going on? And he's like, it's a mistake, and yada yada. I'll send the tapes. So he sent out 2 new tapes, and then when I get them, it's the wrong fucking tapes. I didn't even order this tape. I ordered another Spanish tape and another French tape. And he sent me a Spanish tape and a French tape, but both of them were fucking wrong. How hard it is. And I'm sending him screenshots back and forth. You know, he sent me pictures, I screenshotted them, sent them back to him saying, I want these 2 tapes. And he sent me the wrong ones. I'm like, I told you that I want I even sent pictures. And he's like, it's the same cover. It's a fine movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's different releases. I know that it was like very small differences. Like, you know, it didn't have like the edition collector and the font was in a different color or whatever. But I'm trying to explain to him, like, you know, I collect a lot of these tapes and I already have this one. I don't need it, so it's pointless to me. And he's like, well, then you have to pay for the other ones. I'm like, so you're asking me to pay for 2 new tapes, which I've already paid for, when you sent me the wrong ones? I'm like, fuck that. And he's like, you have to pay for them. But I already paid. You sent me the wrong ones. That's not... Oh, I can't. I get so fucking frustrated to even talk about this. But I'm never fucking dealing with that guy again. And I mean, I've... He even told me that, you know, I'm gonna send the new tapes. And he never did. And I keep asking him. And he only like responds when I bring up the fact that, you know, I'm gonna file a PayPal claim. That's like the only time he responds. He's like, yeah, it's... Oh! And if he's watching this, which he might be, just know that you're a fucking douchebag. And you need to learn English if you are to ever deal with people who speak English. Because clearly you have a problem. And, oh, it's just, you know, lost in translation, fucking barriers. I don't mind people speaking other languages than English. But I mean, if you're trying to deal with people and you're speaking English to them, you should at least... I mean, anyone can use Google Translate. It's not that hard. That's what I have to do every time this fucking French person keeps sending me messages back in French. You know I don't understand French. Why am I always the one who has to Google Translate everything? Why don't you do that when you know I can't understand the language? I mean, seriously, some people and their fucking manners. So where were we? So yeah, these 2 new tapes are new, even though they're old. So I got this and got a duplicate. But it was actually a blessing in disguise, because this tape that he sent me actually had the right tape in it, which my old copy doesn't. So I'm not really sure what to do with that, but I'm just keeping it for now. And then this is obviously a French tape, which I didn't have either, but it's not the one I ordered. So overall, I mean, I'm coming out on top, basically. I think the tapes he sent me are essentially worth more than the tapes that I wanted to get from him. I haven't filed a PayPal claim because it took so long time for him to get stuff sorted out, and I figured then it's probably gonna be that, you know, he's gonna request that I resend them if I get into a whole argument with PayPal, and whatever. I'm too tired. So last but not least is a Italian tape from a company called Scorpion Entertainment. Now I have 2 of these from before. So once again, you might be wondering, like, why do I buy another one? Well, that is because even though these are really similar, these 2 ones here, they basically just have different tape labels. Which I'm not going to show, but it's not too interesting. But they have different tape labels. But what's interesting about this last one, if you look closely at these 2, you might not spot the difference right away. But I'll help you out and just point out that this logo is actually different. It's exactly the same release, but the logo of the label, the Scorpion Entertainment logo, here is sort of like a circular design, whereas here it has like this sort of square type style outline. And that is basically the only difference. This might be something on the back as well. It's so very similar, but they have like print their address here on the one on the right, which they don't do on the left one. So I mean, I like these little stuff with that, like, very small variations, because, like, you know, I have so many of these already. So whenever I find one that's sort of different, even though it's like it can be a really, you know, really minor detail, you know, I tend to buy it anyway, just to get anything you can, basically. But anyway, let's see if I can focus on myself without looking at myself. That is essentially it for this video. Really hope you enjoyed it as usual, and also as usual, hope to see you all next time. I don't know what this means, but bye bye.